everyone. Good morning. You're watching by now Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. I'm Mubina Kapasi, and this show promises to wrap up all the market action, the individual movers and shakers today in trade. It may be gloomy outside, but it's bright on your screens, green on your screens. 11,872 for the Nifty. Sensex as well gaining with similar momentum. In fact, as we speak, the markets are at the day's high. Broader markets gaining approximately 0.3 and 0.5%. But here are then the individual movers and shakers, and we will kickstart the countdown of those by bringing on board our guests. We have Sameer Chauhan of Angel Broking to talk us through the technicals. Along with him is also our in-house technical analyst Kunal Bothra and Soumya Sharma. So thanks to all of you for joining in. Good morning, and let's kickstart the show. Well, naturally, with some auto sale numbers. It's the 1st of July, so naturally we have a whole host of auto sale numbers trickling in for the month of June, one of them being Bajaj Auto. What a move witnessed in the, in the spot market, in the cash market, and in the futures and options market as well. The total sale number stood at 4.04 lakhs. It was flattish on a year-on-year basis. Down, however, on a month-on-month basis, at down by approximately 4% odd. Also important to note is what it did versus the ET in our poll. A tad bit of a miss versus the ET in our poll, but really nothing that the market is too worried about at this point. 4 lakh units, not bad, just a 4% dip from the previous month, 2% higher for Bajaj Auto. Kunal, ICICI Prudential, in fact, all of these insurance companies, maybe it's because of the monsoons, but yeah, they are all buzzing away today in trade. What is what is your observation?
So I think, I think the stock has shown, positive surprise in terms of breakout. Technical chart patterns have now become very bullish for the stock price, even though it has a very limited history. But with whatever price history, I can spot, I believe the stock is getting towards, a breakout of that psychological 400 mark as well. Look at the volume patterns in the last, 2 months for ICICI Pru. It's just about dramatically changed the way the stock has performed. It's now comfortably above its longer term averages. Volumes are also cruising, pretty much strong for the stock on almost every, marginal dips or even on breakouts. You see the volumes moving up higher. So that's a sign of a stock which is into completely a strong demand. And I believe even at current levels, you can, look out for another 20 rupees upside from current levels approximately. So 412 is where I would place a target on ICICI Pru and stop us at 385. Look to go long.
Okay, that's ICICI Pru for you. It's higher by 1.5%. Soumya, property stocks, real estate stocks, are really a buzz today in trade. The Godrej Properties, which had been losing now, has finally shown a bit of a bounce.
Well, yes, indeed. The entire realty pack is gaining, with the major gainer and the top gainer on the Nifty Realty Index being Godrej Properties, gaining close by 5%. Well, this is supported by robust traded volumes of over 4 times to the 20-day average, and in fact, the stock is currently trading above all the key DMAs. In fact, recently Godrej Property had come out with a QIP on June 25th, which closed on June 28th. And in fact, what we gathered from the QIP was it was a pretty good QIP, and stock today gaining by over 5.16%.
Well, yeah, a good response to the QIP, and you can see the nice uptick that's coming by in the stock of Godrej Properties. Okay, Alembic Pharma. Sameer, in the last few days, we've seen a nice up move come by in Alembic Pharma. Today, however, it's taking it a bit easy. But how would you view the overall performance?
See, the entire pharma index, has been undergoing a strong, correction over the past couple of years, and this has been one of the stock, which has underperformed significantly over the past few months. Yes, as you rightly pointed out, in the last couple of weeks, stock has managed to give decent recovery from its long-term support. So 440, 460 seems to be a very strong support, and today we are seeing some mild profit booking at higher level, but 520 is the level to watch out for. If the stock managed to surpass this level, we could see further bounce probably towards 545, 555.
Okay, that's the recommendation on Alembic Pharma. It's higher by 0.4%. OMCs, meantime, take a look at how all of them are declining in trade. BPCL, I think the last time I checked, was down by close to 1%. And I think you could attribute this downtick to the bounce witnessed in crude. It's once again back at $66 per barrel. In fact, beyond $66 per barrel after that 2.5% uptick that we saw overnight come by, perhaps attributed to the handshake, albeit a temporary handshake between US and China, just like they did in the December G20 meet. They've done it again, just a temporary handshake, a truce, if you could call it that. And I think that is something that is causing, the outlook around demand for crude to be a bit perky, and hence perhaps in turn, you are seeing the concomitant decline in OMCs, which naturally would see a hit on their marketing margins. Okay, moving on, Wellspun Corp. Kunal, stocks being flagged by you after very long. What's the rationale?
So again, in a pure chart based observation, technical based observation, the stock today is up, I think 5 or 6%, if I'm not wrong. But look at the volumes. I think the volumes so far, we've not even reached half of the day, is almost up, more than the last 20 days moving average, or the average volumes of the last 20 days. And I think that's a very strong sign of a price volume breakout for Wellspun Corporation. Now, in terms of chart patterns, when you look at it over slightly longer term time frames, over the last 1 year, it's forming a bullish flag pattern. After almost 1 year of correction, more than 1 year of correction, it's coming back to form this bullish flag pattern, which in technical terms is called as a first stage reversal. So, looking at the charts in terms of volumes, the recent volumes today, and the overall price patterns, I believe Wellspun Corp could be a very good buy at current levels. More of a positional buy, targets of 165 and stop us at 139.
Okay, that is Wellspun Corp. It's higher by 5.7%. Samya, MGL, IGL, what's the news over there?
Well, both the stocks are today under pressure. Well, after this, that PNGRB, after its formation, had authorized certain pre-existing CGD networks. Now it is looking to determine a process for opening up the access to these CGD networks, and this means that they're opening up and bringing up new competition in the city gas distribution network space. In fact, as a result of this, we're seeing both the stocks, IGL and MGL, which are the predominant players when it comes to the city gas distribution. They are tanking today in trade. Both of them, particularly IGL, although has recovered from the day's low, but it's still losing close to about 2%.
Well, yes, that news certainly is causing these gas stocks to decline. Samit, Kunal just flagged off ICICI Prudential. Another stock in this space we want to flag off is HDFC Life. Again, in your words, the stock has been on a roll. Do you believe that this can continue?
Historical data is not that big, but the recent price action certainly looks quite encouraging. Since last couple of months, yes, the stock is on a roll. It has already given nearly 30-35% returns in last couple of months. And looking at the overall structure, it appears that any dip is likely to get bought into. So in our sense, any dip probably towards 460, 455 would make it a good risk-reward ratio. And on the higher side, we won't be surprised to see this stock even surpassing 500 mark. So any dip would be a good buying opportunity.
Okay, any dip would be a good buying opportunity for HDFC Life. More from the auto basket then, and we have Aisha's commercial vehicle sales that have come in. It's not that great a set of number. The CV sales are at 4,569 units. This versus the ET-NOW poll of roughly 5,000 units. So it's quite a miss of more than 400 units, and it's a decline of 29% on a year-on-year basis. But I think the more important parameter is a month-on-month movement, and there it's been a 5% fall. So it's really not been that great a set of numbers from Aisha Motors. The stock saw a bit of a dip on an intraday basis after these numbers. But again, it's still holding on to those gains of 1.8%. Of course, I think more important to watch out for in Aisha Motors will be the RE or the Royal Enfield sale. So we'll wait for that. And Kunal, along with the auto stocks, the auto ancillary names like an Exite as well is seeing some momentum. Your view here?
Yeah, both I think Exide and Amara batteries are seeing, both of them are seeing decent momentum today. Even though the price is up maybe 1.5% only, but the volumes so far is almost equal to the average volume over the last few days. I think that's something interesting, because when you see sudden volume pick up in whole host of stocks, and the stocks are still in the consolidation range, the expectations are that the range could or this consolidation could be over. So I think Exide could be due for a decent rally from current levels. Even if you're a short-term trader with a time frame of 2 or 3 days, I believe the stock could head towards 211, 212. So buy with a stop loss of 200 is what I would recommend on Exide.
Well, that is Exide 1.22% higher. And Soumya, what's the latest on Escorts?
Well, just like other auto companies, this one also came out with a tractor sales number which stood at 8,960 units versus ET-NOW poll of 8,200 units. Well, this is well above and ahead of our estimates. However, on a year-on-year basis, the tractor sales were down by over 10.2%, wherein for FY18 they stood at for actually last month. It stood at 9,983 units. But what's interesting is the numbers are, the tractor sales number are ahead to the ET Now estimates. In fact, looking at the stock price performance also, after post the numbers were, tractor sales number were announced, we saw a sharp uptick coming in the stock, currently gaining by 4%.
Okay, there you have it. That is, of course, escorts for you doing pretty well in trade. Okay, let's also talk about another stock that is the cynosure of all eyes, and that is DRL. Samit, you know, some of these pharma names, DRL being one of them, has been seeing a lot of momentum come by in the last few days. You could call it perhaps a short-term uptick. But yeah, Samit, is this something that, you know, is worth flagging off?
See, clearly, in last month and a half, the stock has come off nearly 10-12% from its recent highs. But since last few days, it has been consolidating around its long-term support. If we draw a upward sloping trend line connecting its major lows, we can see a good support around 2450, 2500. So in our sense, it's more of a time-wise consolidation, with positive bias. So stock is now in a process of forming a strong base around its supports. From here on, 2650, 2700 is are the near-term hurdles. But once it surpasses, we could see good traction in this counter and stock can head towards 2800, 2850.
Okay, DRL high by 2.8%. And Samya, what's the news on Balkrishna Industries?
Well, this one's certainly surging in trade today after the company on Friday post-market has informed the exchanges about commencing trial production at the phase 1 carbon black project with 60,000 metric tons per annum of capacity at the Bhuj plant. Well, this as a result, the stock seeing an up move of over 3.2% today.
Okay, 3% higher for Balkrishna. IndusInd Bank, meantime, and Nomura has maintained a buyer with the target at 1775 rupees for the counter. They do believe that the past multiples are something that are highly unlikely to return soon, because do remember they were very high. Nomura has also further added that the negatives are already priced in and hence they maintain a buy. The current multiples are reasonable for a 19% ROE. 1421 is where IndusInd is trading at, and do remember the stock too had fallen quite a bit recently. Samya, what's the news on Kalpataru Power? Why is it buzzing?
Well, this one's surging on back of order wins, gaining close to about 3.3% after they've bagged orders worth over 975 crore rupees. These include EPC projects, and that's what keeping the stock at its high today.
Okay. Well, we'll do one thing. We're done with 15 stocks, so we'll take a very quick break right here on Market Fatafat. Do come right back for more. Hi everyone, welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now, where we are flagging over the big movers and shakers. And continuing that, let's talk about Stride. See the sort of move you're seeing today. The company, by the way, has announced that it is going to exit its investment in Arrow for 394 million Australian dollars. It's a step down subsidiary, by the way, of a company in Singapore, and it has already signed all the definitive agreements. They want to close this transaction as early as 10th of July. SPG, by the way, will receive 300 million Australian dollars, pardon me, immediately at closing, and the balance 94 will be received as deferred consideration backed by secure interest bearing instrument. 2% higher now for Strides Pharma at 407. Kunal, you have a buy on LIC Housing. Why is that?
So even that stock has performed pretty well from the large cap space as well. And now I believe LIC Housing is heading towards a swing breakout. If you look at it, the patterns are more clearer and visible on the weekly charts, and especially on the line charts for LIC Housing. This has traditionally been a very low beta stock, and when low beta stocks tend to give you breakouts on the weekly and the monthly charts, those breakouts tend to result into a multi-month up move for the stock. And similar is what I'm expecting for LIC Housing. So whether you're a short-term trader or a longer-term trader, I think position yourself in the direction of the breakout for LIC Housing. I would place a target of 590 and stop loss of 545.
Okay, LIC Housing is higher by 1.5%. Soumya, what does CLSA have to say about HDFC Bank?
Well, Definitely a positive note by CLSA on HDFC Bank. They're maintaining a buy and in fact have hiked the price target from 2,850 to 2,930 rupees per share. In fact, they believe that the risk appetite is peaking and the company will be shifting their focus to deposits, and as a result, they'll be pushing on expanding their branch networks. Apart from this, they believe that NIMs may be overstated a bit, and they see a 21% profit CAGR of over FY19 to 22. So it's definitely a positive note from CLSA. The stock gaining by marginally, actually gaining by over 1.3%.
Okay, HDFC Bank is higher by close to 1.5%, like Soumya said. CLSA is optimistic. And Sameet, like I was flagging off earlier, it's not just autos, but even ancillary stocks like Motherson Sumi is gaining. And Motherson Sumi, by the way, has seen some traction, in the recent past. What's your view here?
Yes, Mubina. If you see in last year and a half, so the entire auto ancillary space, has been undergoing a strong price as well as a time-wise correction. But in last 3 weeks, we are sensing some early signs of revival in most of the mid-size auto ancillary stocks. So Motherson is clearly one of them. It seems that the stock has formed strong base around 115, 117, and is now gearing up for strong up move. We are a bit on the stock since the level of 180, and we continue to hold that positive stance. One can go long at current level also, keep a stop loss around 119, and we would expect a decent move towards 134, 136 over the next few days.
Okay, that is Motherson Sumi. It's 2.5% higher in trade. Okay, moving on, let's also talk about India Bulls. And the reason I want to flag this off is because the entire group, India Bulls Realty, India Bulls Housing, all of them are buzzing in trade. It's more than a 3% of an uptick witnessed in IB Realty. Do remember, we are staring at a situation where all of these promoter group companies do tend to move together. So whether it's the ADAG group, and yes, now we have to even put the India Bulls group in the same category, because of the entire fear that is surrounding the corporate governance issues that are surrounding the India Bulls group. All of them today seem to be buzzing. India Bulls Housing is back at 625 and India Bulls Realty is back above 110 rupees. So great going for those stocks today. And Kunal, NBCC continues to be on your radar.
So yeah, the stock continues to be trading very close to the 200 moving average. We've seen the stock going into a range. But when you spot this, price action on or map this price action on a lot of the other indicators on the daily chart, so whether it's MACD, stochastics, etc., most of the indicators are showing you a breakout on the upside for the stock price. And generally, when you see the indicators breaking out, it's a leading action which the indicators go through, and the prices follow the price trend of the indicators as well, or the trend of the indicators. So I believe NBCC could be a decent buy just because of the breakout or the preemptive breakout on the indicators as well. 67 is where I would place the targets, and stop loss could be kept at 57.
Okay, that is NBCC. It's more than 2% of gains. And Soumya, the set of bad news for Everready only continues.
Well, indeed, yes, and this is in fact the latest development when it comes to Everready is the resignation of its auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Well, they've resigned as the auditor of the company and have cited reservations on certain intergroup transactions that the promoter group made during the FY19. That's what PwC is saying in their exchange filing. Apart from this, Everready is also in focus for signing an agreement with Madhu Jayanti International Private Limited for packet tea business, for its loss-making packet tea business, in order to reduce stress on the working capital. However, the news of the auditors resigning is actually putting the stock under massive pressure. The stock losing close to about 5%.
This is another stock that is, embroiled at this point in time with various issues, whether with respect to the mammoth debt, with respect to the ICDs. There's the entire Williamson McGaw group of stocks really that one must keep on their radar. Bharat Forge, again, Sameet, keeping it with that similar line of stocks. You have a buy on Bharat Forge?
As I've rightly pointed out, that the most of the stocks have already formed strong base and they are now gearing up for strong relief moves. So Bharat Forge is clearly one of them. It has been consolidating of late around its multi-year support lows, and since last 3-4 days we are seeing good traction in this counter. So we believe risk to reward wise it makes sense going long at current level. One can keep a stop loss around 447, and we would expect a decent move towards 486.
Okay, there you have it. That's Bharat Forge. It's 1.8% higher. But on that note, we are out of time, so we'll have to wrap it up right here on this edition of Market Fatafat. Sameer, thank you for joining us and sharing your technical strategies. Kunal, comment to you as well. Coming up next is Market Review.